Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Cecilia Orozco, and I'm the Assistant Director of Communications. Today's press conference focuses on the critical importance of the Corpus Christi Army Depot to our region, our economy, and our national defense. City and county leaders, along with the South Texas Military Task Force, have just returned from Washington, D.C., where they met with federal leaders to advocate for our depot and the thousands of jobs it supports. We are grateful to have united leadership across our region that is working together to protect these jobs and ensure Corpus Christi remains a strong military and economic partner for our nation. Today, you will hear directly from our local leaders about what is happening, why it matters, and what we are doing to fight for CCAD and for our community. It is now my honor to introduce the Mayor of Corpus Christi, Paulette Guajardo.
Thank you, Cecilia. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for being here. Before we begin, I would like to recognize Scott Bauer with Congressman Michael Cloud's office and Albert Martinez with Congressman Vicente Gonzalez's office. Your presence matters, and your willingness to advocate for the Corpus Christi Army Depot means a great deal to our community. I also want to recognize my fellow council member Mark Scott, who is joining us, County Commissioners Mike Pusley, John Matez, and Mr. Brent Chesney. Thank you all for joining us today. So as the mayor of Corpus Christi and as a proud member of the South Texas Military Task Force, I'm here with a very clear message. The Corpus Christi Army Depot is essential to our nation's readiness, and it deserves the full support of our congressional leaders and military officials. We must begin by acknowledging the work that has been done to protect CCAD. Over the past year, Congressman Cloud led the effort authoring and introducing multiple amendments to this past year's National Defense Authorization Act to bolster the workload at CCAD and to address the many of the depot's issues I will be mentioning today. Several of those amendments take effect this year, including new authorization for Coast Guard helicopter work to be done at CCAD, a $60 million investment for the powertrain facility, and requiring an assessment as to overall workload forecast to meet requirements of the 50-50 rule. We would like to thank our congressman for agreeing to continue the advocacy with us and advance more legislation action in Congress this year. This mission is very, very personal to me. My father worked at CCAD as a helicopter mechanic and raised our family through that skilled, honest work. Because of that, I understand firsthand that CCAD is not just an employer. It represents dignity, stability, and opportunity for families across our region. Last week, our regional leadership traveled to Washington, D.C. with one purpose: to protect jobs, to strengthen CCAD's mission, and to ensure that it remains a vital part of our nation's defense. Today, CCAD faces a serious challenge. Workload is being shifted away. Critical repair missions are at risk, and without strong advocacy, our depot could continue to lose ground. This is why we are here today, to speak clearly, act decisively, and make sure that our community is not left behind. We are calling for action on several critical priorities. First, military leadership must move additional work to CCAD, protect the right to repair policy, and enforce the 50-50 rule. These policies safeguard the organic or internal industrial base and the skilled workforce that keeps our military flying. Second, we are asking Congress to accelerate completion of the powertrain facility, expanding CCAD's ability to support rotary wing readiness across all branches. Third, Congress must authorize the write-off of debt tied to a canceled program, a burden CCAD should never have been forced to carry. And finally, we are urging reforms to reduce the Defense Logistics Agency's excessive cost recovery rates, which inflate repair costs and threaten future workload. These are not abstract policy debates. They are real, immediate issues that directly affect national security and the livelihoods of thousands of South Texans. Corpus Christi is united. Our region is united, and today we are asking Congress and Army leadership to stand with us to invest in CCAD, to expand its mission, and secure its future. And we're very proud of the men and women who serve at CCAD. We're proud of the role that the depot plays in defending our nation, and we will not be silent when that mission is at risk. So I want to thank you all for being here, and it is now my pleasure to introduce our county judge, Connie Scott.
Thank you, Mayor Guajardo, and thank you to everyone for joining us today. As county judge and as a member of the South Texas Military Task Force, I want to speak plainly. The future of the Corpus Christi Army Depot is a matter of national security, economic stability, and long-term strategic readiness. CCAD, as we say it, is the backbone of the Army aviation sustainment. It delivers unmatched value, unmatched expertise, and unmatched efficiency. But to continue to do so, it needs the full support of Congress and the Department of the Army. During our meetings in Washington, we delivered a unified message, one that was backed by data, by operational need, and by the realities of the organic industrial base. Our requests are straightforward. We are asking Army leadership to enforce the 50-50 rule, which is essential to maintain a strong, skilled, and mission-ready workforce. Additionally, Congress should fund and authorize the completion of the multi-phase powertrain facility, a project that will modernize CCAD's capabilities for decades to come. Correct the inequity of the UH-60V program debt, which undermines CCAD's competitiveness and was incurred through no fault of the depot. Address the disproportionate DLA cost recovery rates that drive up the cost of repairs and discourage future workload. For clarity, DLA refers to the Defense Logistics Agency, the federal agency responsible for managing supply chains and logistics for the Department of Defense. When its cost recovery rates are too high, it increases repair costs at CCAD and makes it harder for our depot to compete for future work. These priorities are not just beneficial, they're urgent. CCAD's workforce is ready, its leadership is ready, our region is ready. We stand together united today, and what we need now is federal action. I want to thank our congressional delegation for their continued support. Their leadership is critical to this. And we appreciate their partnerships. The meetings we had last week in Washington were so beneficial as we move forward working on solutions together. South Texas has always stood behind our military. Today, we're continuing our partnership with our federal leads to ensure the Corpus Christi Army Depot receives the support it deserves. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the Executive Director of our South Texas Military Task Force, Mr. Creston Cook.
Thank you, Judge, and thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. The mission of the South Texas Military Task Force is simple but critical: to protect, strengthen, and advocate for military installations that serve our nation and our allies. We work year-round with local, state, and federal leaders to ensure that these installations have the support, resources, and recognition they need to fulfill their missions. At the heart of that mission is the Corpus Christi Army Depot. CCAD is the largest helicopter maintenance, repair, and overhaul facility in the world. There is no other place on the planet that does what happens here on this scale and at this level of expertise. Every day, highly specialized teams restore, modernize, and return aircraft to service to support missions across the globe. When helicopters are maintained here, they are sent into service for disaster response, humanitarian missions, training operations, and national defense. Aircraft repaired in Corpus Christi operate on multiple continents and in some of the most demanding environments in the world. That is why CCAD matters far beyond South Texas. It is a cornerstone of military readiness. It ensures that pilots have safe, reliable aircraft that they need to do their missions. It also ensures that our nation and our allies remain prepared in an uncertain world. The task force exists to protect that mission. Members of the task force are behind me. We coordinate advocacy efforts, build partnerships, engage decision makers, and ensure that the value of CCAD is clearly understood at every level of government. We do this not only for recognition, but because readiness matters, reliability matters, and excellence matters. Corpus Christi is home to a facility that serves the world. Our responsibility is to make sure it continues to do so strongly, supported, and fully recognized for the vital role it plays. And that is why it is so important that local leaders, regional partners, state and federal officials continue working in close collaboration to support the depot. We are grateful for the ongoing partnership of our congressional delegations, and together we will ensure that this mission remains strong for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today on this critical topic. At this time, we will be taking any questions, and I can defer those over to CCAD Commander Kyle Hogan and current South Texas Military Task Force member. Former, I'm sorry.
Just a point of clarity, I am the former commander of CCAD, and I'm about 18 months removed, thus the beard. And at this time, we cannot confirm those reduction in numbers because that is something that's held within the Department of Defense and what they're determining the best forecast is for them moving forward. What we do know is if there's no additional workload brought to the depot, that normally equates to a reduction in workforce. Workload is directly related to workforce. As you can see from the chart, over the years, as the demand for the repair processes for those aircraft has taken place, the workforce has been reduced. That's why it's critical that we engage with our elected officials and the Army leadership to ensure that the amount of work that's done at CCAD is equitable across the board.
Okay.
For those who have lived in the coastal bend, everybody here is related. So as we were sitting at breakfast last week, both Judge Scott and Mayor Guajardo received email notifications of friends and family members who received that actual email. I do want to make sure we're giving credit for the leadership at CCAD from the command perspective. None of their employees have received a pink slip and nobody's been fired. They're looking at every opportunity to ensure they can maintain a workforce, whether it's here, and in the case of the emails that went out, they're looking at if there are other places within the Department of Defense that needs workers that they can shift those individuals to those other locations. It wasn't with a specific location or a person in mind. They were looking at creating optionality for the depot itself. Normally, if they ask you if you're willing to relocate, it's probably not here. But they did not specify where that work would be. That is an option that the government may choose to execute. The reason the task force exists and the leadership within the task force spent time, energy, and effort in D.C. is to implore upon our elected officials and the Army itself to understand that it's not about jobs. It's not a job program for the coastal bend. It's strategic resiliency for our national defense policy to ensure that we are able to provide a capability to our nation when called upon. If that workforce is not continued to develop and train with the appropriate level of workload, then you lose that capability, and it's very difficult, if not impossible, ever to recreate it.
Thank you so much.